Hey guys, welcome to another episode with Blender Bro. And today we are going to be creating this work cycle right here. And so it's just going to be a very nice and easy tutorial for you to follow along. And yeah, I'm just going to jump right into it. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is this character has already been rigged, has already been modeled, and this is not a modeling tutorial. This is just mostly for rigging and some light animation, and it's just a low poly character I modeled, and so it's a really nice one and it's really easy to do. Right, you could see it's really nice and simple, nice and easy. So basically what we're just working on is the rig and the work cycle. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, I would love to recommend to my students when they ask, is best practices. Always ensure your 3D cursor is at the center of world origin. To get that done, click Shift S, cursor to world origin, and your cursor is at the center. And on front view, you also want to ensure that your character is directly above your 3D cursor and is on top of the grid, not below like this. It needs to be on top. So you just use a GZ. I'm always on top. Okay, let me just enable my screencasts so you could see every key I use. Okay. Now, what we're going to do next is very simple. I want to begin creating the bone. So you just use Shift A to create your bone. Look for amateur. Look for single bone. Now, I've already created a more detailed tutorial on rigging and animation on the channel. The link is going to be in the description and you can just follow. But for this is really light and easy. So the rigging will not be so sophisticated, but it's going to be something that definitely can serve. Okay, so once you've done this, I'll advise just reduce your bones to this size, right? Because I'm using a really small character, a miniature character. So once you've done this, come here to data, right? Bone data. Don't confuse this with object data, which is right here. Go to bone object properties around here. So just go to bone data, click on in front, right? Click on in front, and yeah. So once you've done this, you can now move your bones inside your character, and from every angle your bones are going to be visible, right? Your bones are going to be visible. So next step, click on once you have to understand this, once you've clicked on your bone, your tab options should be different, right? Typically, if you click on your mesh, you would see a whole different variety of modes. But once you click on your bones, you have edit mode, your pose mode. I'm going to be explaining what those things are in a second, but to change it easily, you could just use Control Tab and change, right? So just click on this and jump into your edit mode. Now, your edit mode essentially is where you create bones, you deform bones, you duplicate bones, you subdivide bones. Everything about creation of bones or setting up your bones is done in your edit mode. Okay, so then just go ahead and turn this off. Now, next thing I'm going to do, because we have a really short character, I'm just going to create two bones. One for the spine bone. We always call it the spine. So you just adjust it correctly. So we have our spine bone. Then we're going to extrude another bone here for the chest. Then a last bone for the head. You could go ahead and make this bigger because I would like all the elements of the head to follow along. Now, next thing you're going to do, just click on this, extrude another bone for the shoulders, extrude one more for the arms. Now, it will be very good if you could follow the geometry of your character. It's very advisable. Like me, I can see where my shoulder ends, I can see where my upper arm ends, so I'm just going to follow the geometry. So it all depends on what your character looks like, right? So I'm now going to add another extrude another bone here for the arm, and one more, just something tiny for the fists, because we're not going to be doing so much work here. So this just works fine. Okay, you could look at it from here. I also advise you just move this down a little to have that curve feature. You just have a curvature, and then okay, next thing I want you to do is this spine bone, just duplicate it with Shift D, move it here and rotate, right? Move it here and rotate, then move it somewhere around here. Now what I would advise my students is once you've done this, without wasting much time, just select this and select the spine bone and parents, keep offsets. So parents is Ctrl P, keep offset, then click on 3. Now this is going to help you out when you're working on your animation. Always ensure that your thigh bones are not exactly straight, but they are slightly just like this. So this is like best practice. Without this, your character, your IK setup will not work. Your IK, your inverse kinematics is what we're going to be working on very soon. Okay, so just click on the head of the bone and extrude one more for the shin, and extrude one more for the foot. Okay, and believe it or not, we are basically done with our rigging setup. All we now need to do is to add names to the bones, right? So I'm going to click on this, change the name function F2 to head bone, head. Then this, I'm going to rename it to chests. This right here, I'm going to rename it to spine. Now for every bone on the left hand side, always ensure to name it with a .l tag. Now the .l tag is what is going to make it possible for Blender to automatically symmetrize our bones to the right. It will make sense in a second. Or whatever you add, let us say this is going to be our shoulder, so I'm going to write shoulder .l, right? So this is going to be my, I could just use upper arm .l. This is going to be my hand .l. Now if you're finding it hard to basically renaming bones, just use F2 or hold your function key and click on F2. Then this, I'm just going to rename this palm. Okay, then this right here, oh, I just forgot, this ought to be palm.l. Okay, next thing, click on this thigh.l. Oh, sorry, let me confirm I put the .l, you see. Next thing, I'll go to the side view, I'll click on this, I'll call it shin.l, right? Then I'll click on the foot and call it foot.l. And believe it or not, we are really done with the rig setup. So typically it could just symmetrize, but I prefer testing it out very well. So what I want you to do next is click on the side view, which is number 3. Then we're going to jump right into the IK setup. Now I'm moving a bit fast because it's just supposed to be a short and easy tutorial. So for more advanced rigging techniques, I'll drop the link in the description. So just kindly watch that. Now the next thing I want for you to do is just follow these next steps. We're trying to also get our IK bones, which is going to be used to control the leg. So just click on this head and click on E. So extrude, E on the y-axis to extrude. Just extrude the bone out very little, and then use Alt P to clear the parent, to separate the bone, and GY move it forward. We're going to do the something similar here with knee bone. So just extrude another bone here on the y-axis for the pole targets. Now that may not make sense, but eventually once we start adding these constraints, it will make sense. So this right here is basically all we need. But I'll just do one last thing. I'll click on this, the pole targets. I'm going to rename it pole/. targets.l. Now click on this controller and call it ik/targets.l. Okay, now I'm going to jump into my pose mode. Now I remember I told you edit mode is where you create your bones, rename your bones, parent your bones. Everything about working on bones is done on edit mode. Then once we jump on to our pose mode here, basically your pose mode is used for moving and deforming the bones. So if I click on this and I click on G, you could see I can move all the bones together, and that is a good test to ensure that all my bones are properly aligned and they are all well parented. So if you click on the spine and move it together and they all follow, that means besides the IK and the pole target, that means you're doing just great. So you can continue with the video. So click on 3. Let's add an IK setup. Now you might be wondering what these are. These are just basically constraints that help us move. For example, if I move this leg, this is not typically how we move our legs. Our leg has a unique bend to it in which our knee moves, our thigh moves together. So we're just going to add it. It's called an IK constraints, inverse kinematics. Now what you're going to do, just click on this, the shin bone, come here to bone constraints and add bone constraint. Next thing, click on inverse kinematics right here under tracking, inverse kinematics. Click on it and it changes the color. Next thing you're going to do is, okay, sorry, just jump back to edit mode. I forgot something. Click on the pole target, click on the IK target with hold shifts, click on both and click on Ctrl P, keep offsets. Okay, that's then jump back to your pole targets. Now click on this button here where you added the IK constraints. The target would be armature. Now, for whatever reason, if you have multiple armatures, just select the one that is the full bone setup. So you could just click on this and hide to ensure you're in the right place. Okay, so the armature, the target is going to be the armature. The bones is going to be, we'll just click on I and K. So you could see IK targets.l, right? Or you could just scroll down and look for the IK tag.l. Okay, perfect. Now, if I click on the IK and move, it's going to be moving the whole bones in our character, in our rig rather. But to change that, to get that fixed, what I'm going to do, I'm going to increase the chain length. Chain length means how many bones in a row is it going to affect. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So around 5 bones. So once to control just the shin and the thigh, right? So all I'm going to do is click on this, increase the chain length to 2. So it affects just the shin and the thigh. That way, if I do this, you notice that we're having very good, beautiful movement of the leg. So I'm guessing we're on the right track. So I'm just going to keep this in here. Okay. So very good. So next we're going to add the pole targets. So just click on pole target, armature. The bone is going to be pole tag.l. Now I will not be going one by one to explain what exactly this is. I've already done this in a previous video. So I'm just trying to rush onto the work cycle. Now, next thing, interestingly, is once you do this, your foot is going to flip. So don't worry about that. Just click on 3 and change the angle. Just use this slider here to change the angle until you get to around maybe 90. It could be different for every other person. Sometimes it could be 90. It could be 180. It could be minus 90. It doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to make my 90, or you could just type 90 down. And then our IK setup is back. And then you notice we have something really good. Okay, now one problem with my face is to complete this setup. When you click on this spine and you click on GZ and you want to make it maybe squat or have a different position, you notice the foot is sinking down. This is a very common problem in Blender, so you just have to use a different constraint. Now, fastest way to get this done is you go back to edit mode. What I would love you to do is click on the head of this bone, click on Shift S, cursor to selected. Want to have what essentially I'm trying to do is to have this bone constantly being close to this bone, the foot bone. Okay, so I'm going to click on this, click on Shift S, selection to cursor. So this can go and snap with the 3D cursor. So I've clicked on it, and then we could see it's going to be together all the time. It's not joined, but just going to be in close proximity. So what I'm going to do next, I'll click on this, the foot bone, click on IK bone, and click on Ctrl P, right? And click on Ctrl P, keep offsets. That's the way it helps us in the sense that in pose mode, sorry about that. And in pose mode, if I take on GZ, you'll notice that our foot isn't sinking anymore because it's now parented to the IK setup, right? This is helpful. However, if we move up, it's going to cause a bit of problem for us. So what I'm going to do is to add a copy location that's just going to copy the location of the shin. So wherever the shin goes, is going to follow. That easy. So I'm going to click on this guy here, the foot bone. I'm going to add a constraint called a copy location constraint, right? Copy location. I'm going to click on it. The target is going to be armature. The bone is going to be shin because we wanted to copy the location of the shin. So I'm going to type shin, that's L, and click. Now once you do this, the foot bone is going to move up to the shin because it's copying the location. So we don't want it here. So we're going to increase the head and tail slider just all the way here, right? And then once we do this, you notice our setup is complete. And you see, if I move up or down, I could even jump and it's still responding. Okay, so basically that is the whole setup for the rig. And I'm going to go to pose mode. Now all we have is rigs on one side or bones on the left hand side. Now how do we make it appear on the right? It's quite simple. Click on A. A means to select all in Blender. Right click and click on symmetrize. Click on symmetrize and click on it. It's going to automatically symmetrize the bones. You will notice that all the bones here are going to be behind .r, meaning .right, like for instance on the right hand side. So we don't have to begin to do it twice and over. It's easier this way, right? So you could just test out your rig in pose mode. Click on this, rotate this, click on this GX, move it down. We could rotate, yeah. So that is as easy as it sounds. Okay, so all I want to do next is just to bind the bones to our mesh. So click on objects and go to object mode. Now this is very important. I'm going to show you the common problems to face when you're doing this. Okay, so you click on this, which is your cube or your mesh or your character or whatever it is. Then hold shift and click on the bones last. This order is extremely important and you must adhere to it. If not, it will most likely not work. Click on this, hold shift, click on the bones and click on Ctrl P, right? And then click on set parent with automatic weights. Click on it and then you will not see anything, but mine is already parented. So how do I know it's parented? I'll click on the bones, go into pose mode and try and move my object, and you notice that my object moves perfectly, right? So I could just test it out. GZ, move it down, move it up, and then you could see I have the small problem here. I'm going to show you how to fix some part of your mesh not following along. So what I want you to do is just to click on this. Okay, so let's just wait a bit. So basically our rig setup is all done, and I'm just going to show you how to assign weights so our objects can follow suit. Okay, now if I move this up G and the Z, you'll notice that I have some bit of mesh here. It's having problems. That means it's not moving alongside the body. Now how do I fix that? I'm going to just GZ, bring it back down, and go into edit mode. I'm now going to go to object mode and stay on 1. Now this area, this part of the video is extremely important. I think if you've been following along so far, we are almost done, and this is just the end of towards the end of the video, right? So, okay, so what I'm just going to do is I'll go to my object mode. Now remember, your object should be selected, right? So you click on it, go to your edit mode and go to front view. Now, once you're in front view, just go into Alt Z. Okay, sorry, this went off. Okay, so what you would do is go into your X-ray mode with Alt Z. It makes it easier to select both the front faces and the back faces. So just select all of them like so, right? You see how easy it was to select all this. I'll just select this at the top. Okay, one that is also selected. So what I'm just going to do essentially is I'll click on Ctrl G. I'll remove all from group. I'll click on it again. I'll set the active group to probably foot.l, right? Then Ctrl G again and assign to active group. So all I did essentially was I selected this group. I removed them from whatever weights it was on. I now clicked on Ctrl G again and set the active group. That means the foot, basically all the faces and the vertices will be following this foot right here, foot.l. Now remember, we're symmetrized, so it doesn't matter. The right one will also apply to the right bone. Then lastly, I now came to assign to active group and assign to active group. So that is all I did. And then I'm going to use Alt Z again to come out from X-ray mode. Then I'll go back to my object mode, click on my bone, come here to pose mode. Then you'll notice that when I do this, it all moves together, right? So no vertex is left behind. Okay, so with this, we are ready for the animation part, and it's really exciting actually. So all we're going to just do is we're going to get poses, and with those poses, we're going to make a walk cycle. How this essentially works is that we use pictures as references. So if let me just show you this reference. I'll put it in the description so you could use. Okay, so essentially this are the poses we're going to be trying to get, and once you achieve these poses, you're good to go for your animation, right? Okay, so I'm going to just go back to my Blender. What I'm going to do, I'll just split my screen so we could see a bit of what we need to do. Okay, awesome. Now, I think what really helps whenever you're doing any sort of animation, you just go to this tab here, the animation tab. So just click on it and this splits your screen in two. So here we could be seeing in real time what our animation would look like without all the messy bones and stuff. So I think I wish this is just a clearer version. Okay, that's good. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to really close it down so you could see both the reference image and how it works in real time. Okay. Awesome. So I'm just going to stay on You could stay on any view, but because of the way our reference is, I advise you to stay on the left view, right? Just like this. Now, once you're in pose mode, and just turn on my material. Once you're in pose mode, just try and rotate the hands as best as you can. Oh, sorry. Rotate the hands down so you could have a more natural resting pose than your T pose. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do next is we'll stay on the left view, like so. And then all we just need to do is try to mimic the pose. This area shaded black is going to be the back. So just have that in mind. So I'm going to move a bit fast. And yeah, so just if you're following the video, you could just jump, kindly disable this. Okay, so just move this forward. All I'm just going to be trying to do right now is to just get the pose as best as I can. Okay, also try and look out for the deformation. So just try your best. It's a very easy rig. So just try and control your bones so it doesn't deform so much. So this, I'll just move it on the y-axis and rotate just a bit. Okay, looks good for the legs. Now for the hands, I'm just going to swing this back as is required. Move this out a bit. Now I'll just take it in a bit. And then I think I'm just going to move the spine bone a little bit down. Then selecting these bones could be a bit of a hassle, so you just have to manually do it and turn around. Then I'm going to move this hand forward and this forward. So I think this is the very first pose we need to achieve. And yeah, so what I'm going to do, just check yours to ensure your looks good. And all I'm going to do, I'll click on A to select all. K for my keyframe menu. On yours, it might be I. So you could just choose either. I'm going to be using K. So just click on location rotation keyframes. Then you have your first keyframe. And that thing you should look out for is sometimes when you open, you're trying to animate, you might be on dope sheets. How to fix that? You come here. This is dope sheets. Always be on timeline. Okay. Now go to 4 frames. Just scroll your time indicator to 4 frames. Right, and then let's try to achieve the second pose, which is the down pose. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to manually do that. I'm going to change the rotation of this. I can just click Alt R and it resets the rotation for me. And I'm going to bring the spine down a little. Right. Then just a small. The differences are not so much. Okay. Then you could just swing the hands a bit further out. I'll just take this in, rotate this a bit more. Not so much. The differences are not so much in the second pose. So I could just wobble the head a bit. And then I have my second pose. I'm going to click on A to select all, K for my keyframe menu and location rotation. So I'm just going to skip to 3 more frames, so around 8. So just scroll to 8, right? And then I'm going to try and achieve my passing pose. It's really easy. How do we do that? I'm just going to you'll notice this leg at the back, it was brought a bit in. So I'm going to raise it up, my spine. GZ, I'll move it up, but this is like the highest point. I'm going to move my leg GY this way. So I think I still need to raise my spine up to have a straighter look. Okay. Now this is really going to be, yep. So just a bit of touch rotation, and yeah, this is the highest point. Now for the hands, I'm just going to take them down a bit. And okay, there's a bit of movement here, and I think I like the pose I have achieved so far. Okay. You have to just scrub through to ensure you're seeing every part of your animation, of your character rather. Okay. So I think I really like this. I'm going to click on, I think I'm just going to reset the head just a little. I'll click on A, click on K, rotation, location. So if I scrub through my animation, you'd see our character is already trying to get the walk, and it's really that easy. So after 8 frames, I'll just go to around 11 frames. So I think I'm just counting 3 frames apart. Now, okay. Now I have to achieve the up pose, which is this one right here. Now what I'm just going to do is I'm going to try and get the pose as best as I can. Now this leg here comes forward, so I'm just going to GY, take it backwards this way. I'm just going to reset the rotation with Alt R, bring it forward like so. Rotate it to face towards the floor, right? This hand goes forward. I'm really hoping you could see through all the bones, but so I could just turn it around for you to see. Okay, so I will just rotate this back a bit and rotate this, so you could just see the hands as the pose is. So all you're just doing essentially is trying to achieve the pose. Now for this leg, I'm just going to bend it out a little and move it up, right? And then let me just do a small animation on the hand. Okay, so this looks really good, and I'm going to click on A, K, and location rotation. So if I scrub through, you'll notice I have something really good. So I just have to achieve the down pose, which is like the exact opposite of this. So I don't want to have to start doing that from the scratch. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it. So I'm just going to go to 14 frames. I can zoom out on my timeline a bit. I'll click on this first frame. Now this step is extremely important. I'll click on this first frame, click on Ctrl C, then I'll click on Shift Ctrl V, and it would paste the pose flipped, right? So if I do this, I am done with the walk cycle. Now I could just, okay, end it at say 15 frames. So I'm just going to put my end at 14 so you could just see what the animation looks like. Now this looks really good and it looks really clean. So I'll just scrub that out a bit. Now this is just the first half of the walk cycle. Now what we need to do now is we're just going to do a bit of copy and pasting. Okay, we're just going to have to start copying and pasting the poses. So I'm just going to close this. So this is all I need right now, right? Now what I'm going to do is once you've gotten these poses, all you have to just do, you are probably at frame 14. So you go to frame 17, select all of this, keyframes, Ctrl C and Shift Ctrl V, and it will paste the pose flipped. So you have something like this. Now we are done essentially. If I just put it at 26, now you'll see what the walk cycle looks like. Right, you could see it's really smooth. Now if you need to have more keyframes, just select all of this, move here and click on Shift D, Okay, sorry, just click on Shift D and duplicate the keyframes and move them here. Remember, you're counting in threes. So if my last keyframe was 27, so the next keyframe will be frame 30. So this is what we have. So if you want to make it longer, you just keep duplicating and moving it. And we have this, right? And that is essentially how to do a walk cycle animation. So it's really simple. Once you've gotten your first four keyframes, all you just need to do is to copy once you go to your first 5 keyframes, all you need to do is just copy the last 4 keyframes, control copy and paste it flipped, and you're all good to go. Right, so that is just how you could speed up your animation process by bringing the keyframes closer, and it will now work faster. So guys, this is essentially the basics. I have other tutorials on this. Well, that was a more complex character, so I think this is fine, and you could just try and practice this. I think all you just need to do to get this done is just practice, right? And just practice a couple of times, understand the keyframes, and you're good to go. It's not really something that is so hard. The only places you might have issues are with the rigging, but the animation process is just a matter of making poses and duplicating keyframes. So guys, with that, thank you very much for watching and staying so far. Kindly like and subscribe the video, and just you could drop some comments on the next videos you want me to make, or if you have any confusions exactly with the tutorial, I'm going to answer all the questions in the comment section. So far, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys in the next one.